some technical difficulties, and just had to get my mental in check for this morning. I start a little bit later. So welcome to the room. We're going to be talking about the mental health of the world. Hey Winnie. Come on in the room. Let me know where you watching from. How you feeling today? Thank you for the heartbeat. So we talking about ATL in the place. You right by me. I'm from Florida, but I'm in New York right now. But I am a Floridian, so that means you know. We're cousins, state cousins. Feeling good. Same here. I'm feeling good. My morning started off a little shaky, but that's what prompted me to come live today and, talk about the mental health of the world. There's a lot going on, especially here in America. State cousins. For sure. My mom was born in actually Columbus, Georgia, so technically I'm a Georgia girl too. Technically I'm so ATL. Too much going on. Facts. Way too much going on. And I just want to know how y'all feeling out there. How we feeling out there? Normally I come on ready to teach something, but even me, I'm going through a lot. Being a dental practice owner here in New York, dealing with inflation and overhead, and there is so much going on TikTok, on the internet, with the food stamps, with SNAP, with the government. It's just a lot going on mentally. So I just wanted to come on here and chill with the tribe. ICO to my Niji out there. ICO to the melanated people who woke up this morning and not letting nothing shake us. Greetings from Lakeland, Florida. I'm doing a lot of deep breathing, period. Thank you, Nene. Getting the #1 gift badge. A lot of deep breathing. I'm doing a lot of deep breathing. Honestly, guys, I am making a life-changing decision in the near future just because of what's going on in the economy. I have a decision to stay where I'm at, keep my dental practice where it's at, which is surrounded by people who don't really look like me, no family, no friends, or I can come back down with my cousins in Florida and Georgia. And I'm really having to think about that because I miss being in the South. Like, the South has a lot going on, but I feel like I'm missing out by being where I'm at mentally, And if you ever lived away from home, for me, just coming from the hood, coming from hood to hood, coming from poverty, coming from food stamps, coming from the projects, coming from everything that was meant to break me down, and leaving Tallahassee, Florida, going to dental school in Nashville, Tennessee, at Meharry, overcoming homelessness, having the opportunity to come to New York City to do a dental residency after becoming a doctor, taking that leap of faith, being homeless, going to the hospital during my residency, sleeping in the car, and having this dream to just keep going, being in New York, working for several dental practices, and then getting to the point where I said, I'm going to start my own. And now I'm here 3 years deep, and it's been one of the hardest shits I ever had to do. Like, it's been hard. So mentally, I'm just so thankful and grateful to be able to come live, share my raw experience, and just talk about the mental health that we going through right now. Thank you, Bree. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate it. Just to talk about my mental health right now and just hopefully encourage somebody who may be going through life-changing things. I see it all over the internet, the stress, the sadness, and we gotta know that a lot of the things right now is meant to break your spirit. Even for me, I start to feel a little broken spirited yesterday, today, dealing with life, bills. It's like every time I turn around, it's some type of insurance due, and you don't really think about this when you want autonomy, or you want to be the boss, or you want to have your own company, and you just can't really make any excuses. So right now, I just want to talk about like how to stay positive. Say, yep, how to stay positive when you're going through a lot of BS. Sometimes you gotta change your environment. A lot of times. That's why I say maybe I need to go back to the South, around my loved ones, and really go back and do dentistry in the area where I truly always wanted to do it, at home in Florida. But one thing I will never forget is the experience. I might have been homeless in New York, sleeping in the car, getting up, going to be a doctor at the Brooklyn Hospital Center every day. But guess what? The experience, I ain't gonna even lie, I would probably sleep in the car again just from the experience. How many people can come from the projects, go through this crazy journey, losing my mom at 8 years old? And I tell this story a lot. My dad being incarcerated and having the street life and all of these things, and just to make it to even here. So I feel like if I have to go back to the South and take motivational dentistry back home, that actually may be the blessing, the miracle in disguise. That sometimes when you having those moments where things aren't really working out how it's supposed to work out, that's actually making room for something greater in your life. It's actually making room for something more prosperous to enter your life. And we get caught up on holding on, not wanting to let go. Not wanting to let go. Hello, not a straw chills. I hope I said that right. What's going on Kig? Kig in the building. And you don't need permission, period. Don't need permission. Don't need it. I'm from Albany, New York. Pray for direction. He'll direct you. This is a test for you. Wow, I practice in Albany, New York. That is crazy, Nene. That is crazy. That is crazy. Why my message get deleted? What message did you put? If you put something crazy, then the moderator is gonna automatically delete it. So I don't know, but I see the hello queen. I see why my message get deleted. What did you say? Not a straw chills. I said hello queen. I can see your message though. I can see it perfectly. What's going on? How you feeling? How you feeling? No, it's deleted in the chat. I don't know. I'm not really a Kik professional, even though Kik been turning me up. Kik been hyping me up. I don't know why it's deleting it. It may be a setting that I have it on. I don't know. I don't really know what problems exist when I'm live until it actually happens. Then I can go and be a techno kid and figure it out. But yeah, like I said, anyways, how you doing? I'm doing great, feeling great. Just having a little mental moment, just coming to talk to the tribe about the mental health of the world. It's a lot of changes going on. The government is shut down. And I learned this morning, I was listening to a very interesting YouTube video on capitalism and slavery. And it just had me thinking about, well, they were talking about how if you were involved in capitalism some kind of way, I saw what you said. I don't understand what you said. But it just got me thinking about the messiness of the world right now. How racism, somebody asked me yesterday, said you're really involved with talking about racism and things like this. Well, I say, the government is really involved in making sure that their policies and capitalism is rooted in that, In some kind of way, people like to act like that doesn't make it hard for people. And the reason why I'm so touched by it and I'm so moved by it is because I came from a place in the world where those racist activities, the system, really could have caused me to go to the left. And a lot of times it made my journey, and a lot of the people who look like me, who are ambitious and passionate, it means we gotta go 100 times harder. It means we gotta show up 100 times more and go through 100 times more drama. Intentionally. I heard what you're talking about. I want to show you a song I made based on mental health. Okay, where your song at? Is it on YouTube? We definitely need more songs about mental health and breaking down and how to overcome the struggle. But it's definitely possible. Mental Health by Astro Chills on YouTube. Okay, I'll check it out. Let me check you out. I'll check it out in a minute. I make all of that. Okay. So, before we get to the mental health song, I was watching this video on a YouTube channel called Free, Forum for Real Economic Emancipation. And the guy and this lady were talking about capitalism and slavery and all these things. Now, when it comes to being Niji, I know that there's miseducation in who we are, which has a lot to do with the mental health of the world. Because like this guy said, I want to show y'all this guy. He said that you can't have capitalism without the history of enslaving people, right? And he talked about how Lincoln is credited for freeing enslaved people, but he mentioned that he didn't do that by choice. He did that because the people who they were doing homicide, democide, and genocide on were actually causing an uproar. They weren't just folding the way history books would make you think. It wasn't like the evil, the harassment, all of the messiness that comes with white supremacy. It wasn't, I guess, rebranded because someone had a good heart. It was rebranded because we forced it. We said, you know what, you cannot put your hands on us. What is wrong with you? So these people that I was watching this morning, even though they had part of it wrong, so I know now as a Niji how to watch things and take what I need from it and kind of leave the rest. Like how they're saying we came from Africa. So it tells me even these people haven't went back far enough. They don't even know the real truth. Because in order to know what the Niji know about what America did and the biggest lie on the planet right now, you really got to go dig. And you really got to tap into your spirit to realize what they did. So even these people, when they talk about bringing us from Africa, they still don't know something. that they need you to know, that we have uncovered from history. So when I play this video, make sure you know to cut that part out. But the rest of what they're saying about how capitalism and slavery were born together because they had to stop doing enslavement of people, kidnapping people, all these different atrocious acts. They replaced it with capitalism. And instead of chattel slavery, they made you part of capitalism. And he talks about, I put some notes. So let me get my notes. I made some notes. He talked about, what did he say? That the enslaved people produce wealth for the masters, who were actually invaders, immigrants, settlers on stolen land. In some kind of way they became to own the land that they stole. And that melanated people produce wealth for the masters. And they will draw this wealth by labor. So in order to reclaim your time, you have to reclaim your life. Okay? To reclaim time for yourself is reclaiming your life. And this guy talked about the Great Haitian Revolution. You know, the Great Haitian Revolution, 1791 to 1804. They went from a 6-day work week down to a 4-day work week, sometimes a 3-day work week. Here in America, with capitalism, they have us on a 5-day work week. Some people work double shifts, triple shifts. I know in college, I worked 3 jobs at one time just to become a doctor from the hood. Like, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I worked 3 jobs at one time in college. Only people who have been faced with oppression can do shit like that. Because we know, damn, I got every odd stacked against me. I gotta go 10 times harder. I gotta work 3 jobs in college. I gotta work in high school. I was in high school in the International Baccalaureate Collegiate Program working at Wendy's. Bought my own car at 16. No parents over me. But guess what? I had to work in high school to pay for senior pictures because I didn't want to feel left out. I didn't want to feel like, because I'm from the hood, because I don't have my mom here on earth, because my dad really ain't around, you know, he's in and out of jail, into the street life, alcoholism, all these different things, because I got this going on, involved with custody battles, I'm just this confused teenager who know that I'm passionate about something. I have to work to make it come true. And sometimes that's what you gotta do. But I didn't realize back then that capitalism was why I had the need to go and give away my time, even as a teenager, to this system. Alright? So let's watch this video. We need more people like you on Kick. We're gonna watch this video. Let's pull it up. And I'm not gonna watch the whole video. You can kind of go find it for yourself. But just to give y'all some context of what we dealing with here now and why I'm sorry for your loss in the past. Now the music isn't up high. Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out why. Well, something is playing. Hold on, guys. Oh. Alright. There we go. Thank you for telling me that. Not a straw, chills. And I'm so sorry you lost your mom so recently. That is just something that it's like a forever wound, and because it's so fresh, it's something you just have to take a minute, a second literally, at a time. I lost 2 people this year. I lost one of my very good friends. She was a mom of 6, and I lost my goddaughter's mom, so my sister. So it's been crazy this year, on top of all the stuff that we dealing with government. So I'm about to flip y'all around TikTok, and we're gonna get into this video called Capitalism and Slavery: The Truth They Don't Teach You, with David McNally and Sierra. What name of the lady with the 6 kids? I can't tell you her name. But yeah, let's get into this video.
Emancipation did not come from on high. Even the...
Hold on. We're gonna play it out loud. So that everybody can hear it. Move y'all over here, TikTok.
Well-intentioned liberal myth that Lincoln freed the slaves, that is wrong. Lincoln was driven forward to take actions he had opposed because enslaved people were freeing themselves, and he had to go farther. He had to go farther because they'd already made it a fact on the ground that freedom was coming. They weren't waiting for the president to act. They were forcing the president to move. And that social process, which is the same social process of the civil rights movement, is something in these times where the great powers that be want to instill fear in us. And we need to understand that solidarity is the greatest antidote to fear in the world.
So David, you have just published a book, which is truly revelatory for many, many reasons. And you say it's inspired from freedom as an index of truth. You also tell us that truth is partisan. It's partisan because if it is about breaking the oppression against the oppressor, we need to actually have the courage to look deeper, not just at the facts at the surface, but at the systemic relations that shape our economy as such. You make a point that is, I think, quite groundbreaking. You're telling us that actually capitalism is not distinct from slavery, that
Capitalism is not distinct from slavery. So we live in a capitalist country, and he brings up a very good point. It never was erased, you know. Not a straw chill said, "Oh, I thought you was talking about my mom. That's why we might know each other." Are you from Tallahassee? Are you from Florida? Because my friend with the 6 kids, she was from Florida. So But yeah, let's keep going.
Uh, in our minds, we think of capitalism as, in fact, this realm of freedom, of opportunities that, in fact, distanced itself from the overt political oppression of slavery. You instead tell us a very different story. You tell us how slavery itself was capitalist and how slaves were themselves a form of working class struggling to preserve and enhance their life over the extraction of capital from their masters. So to you, my question is, what is this capitalism, and how is it that looking at slaves as workers is an emancipatory perspective with respect to the usual narratives about slavery?
Well, thank you. And let me start both by thanking Clara for this generous invitation to share some thoughts related to my recent book on slavery and capitalism with you, and to Michelle, whose wisdom I look forward to hearing further in the conversation. Let me start with the question of freedom and truth, because the premise of this book that I've written is that any society founded on oppression is untrue. It is untrue.
Okay, we're gonna pause right there with that one statement. Any society founded on the oppression of other people is untrue. Any society that tries to erase indigenous heritage, reclaim people, and say they're from Africa when you stole their land, and this is the only way to take their land is to say they're from somewhere else, is false. And that's what we live with now in America. Just think about it. We have settlers who are now in control and the president of their corporation. And their corporation was built on the oppression of other people. I was so shocked to know that the first 10 to 13 presidents, minus one or two, owned people. They were a part of slavery. Yes, George Washington and all of the rest of them that came after him for at least 10 to 13 presidential terms. So when you talk about capitalism and enslaving the indigenous people and reclassifying them and just doing everything in your power to break their spirit, we still live under those laws and rules today. So when we talk about the mental health of the world, we're talking about the mental insanity, the sadness, the aggravation, the fatigue that capitalism, colonization, and mental and physical enslavement have caused. It has halted the production of the needy, of the melanated people, and still we rise. Maya Angelou said it best, still I rise. You can cut off this, cut off that, but still we rise. Most people don't know that what they're talking about, if we go a little bit further and realize that we were POWs, right? Because when they came to America, they were at war with us, the Niji. And you can see this in the paintings from the 1300s, the 1400s, all around the world except America, because this is censor out. This is propaganda. This is going to empower the melanated people. If they see those paintings of those early Tamaricans, of those Indians with the feather and the copper tone skin, it's going to be too empowering. We have to change the skin color, cut off the noses, and make them feel like less than. We have to. We have to do this. Most people don't know, when they came over here, they went to war, they would capture the people, turn them into slaves. These are captured people on indigenous land, turn them into slaves, steal their land, and now you're their master. And this is the history where we start in the history books, where someone is your master. They don't want you to know that before that part, you were sovereign. And like he said, any civilization that's calling itself a civilization built on the backs of other people is a pseudo-civilization. So right now, guys, that's what they call it, the Matrix. You're living in the Matrix, meant to make you go crazy and work yourself to insanity if you don't realize the trick. Now, he just told you. Black codes were put in place when, like he said, we forced them to stop harassing us and trying to catch us, and we forced this because it was uproar, right? So then they said we got the black codes, or now we got the popo. It was called the slave patrol, but they turned the slave patrol into the police, which is still basically the slave patrol. It's in the statistics, it's in the arrest records, it's in the videos when you catch 5 grandkids, great grandkids of colonizers unaliving melanated people while they have their hands behind their back in handcuffs. It's just modernized now. It's just legalized now. Racism is legal. It's all legal. You try to tell the truth, it gets banned. You try to oppress people and call people the N-word on the internet and be all ghetto, it gets pushed through the algorithms. But with the slave patrol, it was a force for us to go to work. If you didn't go to work, you went to jail. If you didn't go to school, you went to jail. They made it a law for you to have to go to work. Go read the black codes. I think I read the ones for Alabama, where it was a law for you to, you had to go to work now. After they abolished slavery, they said, no, you still got to go work those fields. We just going to pay you pennies now. And not only that, they started what was called a pauper fund, the P-A-U-P-E-R fund. Pauper means poor. So they started the poor fund, which basically was a tax. Now they forced you to go to work on your own stolen land. Now you paying taxes on your own indigenous land. You're sovereign, paying taxes to the pauper fund, which was supposed to go for us helping our own people. Go look it up. The pauper fund. But now guess what it goes to? We pay taxes for them to do harm to us in the name of their Lord. And it's just sad at this point. The world can never be free when capitalism replaces slavery. And we can't figure it out. We can't even see the light. This lady gonna tell you we too poor to go and try to fight this. We don't have the time. We too busy trying to break free and get to the American dream that really don't even exist. The dream really is just to suck your time away till you get old and gray, and now you gotta retire because you too tired and you ain't saved nothing because they didn't teach you how to save and invest. If you one of the ones and you got legacy, then consider yourself blessed. But when you come from the hood like me, it's gonna be a struggle every day. Even as a dentist, I still struggle every day to try to keep my dreams alive, to try to keep the practice alive, to try to keep my mental health in a positive space with all that's going on around us. But this is why. Let's continue the video.
Let me start with the question of freedom and truth, because the premise of this book that I've written is that any society founded on oppression is untrue. It is false. It is untrue because it is a violation of human dignity and human equality. As a result, truth cannot be on the side of the oppressors because their system is false, because their system is grounded in injustice, and therefore it requires an abdication of truth. It's why truth is under attack, particularly in the historical field at the moment, because to tell historical truths is a dangerous enterprise for the powers that be. So one of the things I'm doing in this book.
Now he said something real deep. He said to tell historical truth will be bad for the empire. So you have a lot of Native Americans going around telling their truth from the reservation. You have a lot of people going and telling the truth they learned in the high school books, not knowing that the publishers of these books were on the side of enslavement. So you got to know that any pseudo-truth they tell you is not true. That's why history is so hard for the Niji to understand, because it's like everything opposite of what you know. You thinking Christopher Columbus discovered America, and Christopher Columbus didn't do that. But this is who they give the holidays to. They put people who owned us on the money. So you can constantly have that propaganda in your face every day to remind you that you maybe mean nothing. Let's carry on. Now he gonna get into something where he talk about being from Africa. If you truly need you did your ancestry, you know that we were already here. Some people might have immigrated, but we were inhabitants. If you need you. If you don't know if you need you, that means you have to go do your ancestry.
Is I'm challenging the myth that throughout the Caribbean, throughout Brazil and the southern United States, there was a system called slavery, and later it got replaced by capitalism. And I'm saying, no, that's not how the story works. The reality is that the slave plantations of the Atlantic world were among the most prosperous and profitable business enterprises in the world. Hundreds of enslaved people, the vast majority in the first 100 years, kidnapped from Africa and sold into bondage.
Again, the Niji were not kidnapped from Africa. We were kidnapped right here on our own land. On our own land. So he still got some reading to do. Okay, was that the text for me? Yes. I said yes, I will play it after we finish this little segment for sure.
Produced global commodities, sugar, coffee, cotton, tobacco, indigo, and more. And all of the wealth flowed into the hands of the owning class, and then through their hands, big chunks flowed back to Europe and fueled things like the rise of industrial capitalism in Europe. And when you tell the story truthfully, it says to us, capitalism always involves different forms of coercion. The most blatant and the most brutal is chattel slavery. But every form of labor in a capitalist society is unfree labor.
Oh, did y'all hear that? I think that went over a lot of people's heads. He said every form of labor in a capitalist society is free labor. Oh, I want him to tell us more. Oh.
Do the thought experiment. Ask yourself this. You're an employee in a kitchen in a restaurant. You see a rat run through the kitchen. If you walk out and tell the customers, you'll be fired. In other words, the system is inherently oppressive. For telling the truth, you will be dismissed because your job is to ensure the profitability of the company for your employer. That's the reality. And that's the fundamental substructure of capitalism, the exploitation and domination of labor. And so by bringing slavery and capitalism together like this and insisting that slave labor was foundational to the growth of the capitalist world system that we live in today, I'm challenging the dominant narrative that capitalism is about freedom. The final point I'll make on this is that central to the argument I want to make in the book is that slavery in the New World ended in the southern United States and across the Caribbean because the resistance of enslaved people became increasingly organized and powerful to the point that by Christmas of 1831 in Jamaica, they waged a strike of 30,000 enslaved people, and lo and behold, 2 months later, Britain abolished slavery in its colonies. And in the United States, as the great W.E.B. Du Bois, the first black man to ever get a PhD from Harvard, said, and by the way, W.B. Du Bois famously said, "The honor was all Harvard's, I assure you." As W.B. Du Bois said about the Civil War in the United States, it was the general strike of the slaves that broke the back of slavery. It was the 500,000 bonded people who left the plantations, fled to Union lines, 200,000 black men joining the Union Army and Navy, and I'll come back to this in another story later in the conversation. It was, in other words, the self-emancipation of enslaved people that got slavery out of our world. And that tells us that it's always going to be the common people. It's always going to be the...
So what he's saying is, we ain't never fold. It didn't end because they had a good heart. It ended because we said, hell no! The fuck wrong with y'all? You lost your mind. And they had no choice but to say, well, we can't beat them, so let's just let it go. And replace it with something else, which is what we're living in now. The stress, the snap, the this, the that, where they want to control everything. Oh, let's take this away. Most people don't know, and she talks about it in this video about the big beautiful bill. They plan to take away, is it 100 million? I'm gonna fast forward it so we can see, to give it to the military so they can patrol the border. So the people who lose in SNAP and EBT now, that money is now going to the military, defense. Let's keep going.
Oppressed. It's always going to be the working people of the world who are going to win freedom for us. And that's really what I'm trying to tell the story of in this book.
And this, I think, is crucial because, again, we see how all our common sense understanding of this evolution towards linear progress that supposedly our humanity is experiencing through the enlightened morality of the elite completely breaks if one reads this book. In fact, it's interesting, David looks at how the reason why Britain started advocating against slavery was because it was not in the interest of Britain to maintain slavery in place because of the highly more competitive position of the Americas when it was about trading cotton and other commodities. And of course, the very interesting point here is that slavery was not surmounted because of greater morality, but rather because it was politically untenable. Because indeed, and this is the fundamental point here that I would like you to dig deeper in, you're trying to tell us a lot of historians have got it wrong. It's not the case that we can reduce slaves to what you call constant capital, which is a big word, but ultimately it is about, you can't reduce slaves to property of someone else, because it is really the living labor, this activation of life that produces that wealth that then is captured by the elite. So in this living labor, and how was My question is thus, if we understand slaves as workers, how do we understand their struggle to escape this position of subordination? And what's fascinating of this book is all the different stories David tells about the different ways in which slaves organized to break free, and especially to reappropriate their time. And this is crucial, because when we talk about exploitation, we again have a moralistic understanding of it, just as, you know, very bad mistreatment in the labor process. The point here is to say, no, exploitation is actually the appropriation of part of the labor for the accumulation of someone else. So the appropriation of your activity and your output. And this is structural to accumulation. So could you tell us a little bit about the different ways in which these slaves organized to break free and why they became so powerful, all the way breaking with liberation?
Let's start with the old narrative that needs to be challenged here. And this is the narrative that enslaved people were objects being bought and sold. When you think of slavery simply in those terms, you dehumanize. No human being is an object. No human being is a mere thing. There is living personality pulsating through these people, and they aspired to freedom in every imaginable way. Moreover, we tend to forget, particularly the mainstream tends to forget, as you say, these people were laborers. But what does that mean? It means they were producing the wealth of their masters. Now think about that for a minute. Because if you produce wealth for others, you have an often unseen power. And that's the power to stop working for them. Yes. That's the power to withdraw your labor. And contrary to what so many of the older histories thought, enslaved people withdrew their labor all the time. One of the great revelations in this regard is to read the actual diaries that the master class kept. They are constantly complaining about the enslaved people slowing down in the fields, about a bunch of them running off to the forest, and so on. They were engaged in a constant battle. And at the heart of that battle, of every freedom struggle by enslaved people and by oppressed people, is to reclaim time for themselves. Because the claim of power over you by any oppressing class is the claim to be able to control your time, to own your time. Enslaved people regularly fought and organized for fewer hours per day in the field, for more days away from the field. During the Great Haitian Revolution, for instance, which overthrew slavery in Haiti between 1791 and 1804, the 13-year war led by Toussaint Louverture to destroy slavery and to create the first independent black republic in the world, which is what they accomplished by 1804. In the course of that, the enslaved people regularly rose up for the 4-day work week, not the 6-day work week. Even for the 3-day work week and not the 6-day work week. Because time is life. Sage, you were speaking to this. Time is life and time is freedom. And to reclaim time for yourselves is to reclaim time for life. It's not the time in which someone else bosses you around. It's not the time in which you make somebody else rich. It's the time you nurture human relations. It's the time you work in your community, with your kin, with your friends. It's the time you celebrate. It's the time you worship. It's the time you dance. It's the time you sing. It's the time of what Susan Ferguson has called life-making. The time of life-making. Not time for someone else, not producing their wealth, making Elon Musk or Bill Gates or someone else fantastically wealthy. And so one of the incredible things about reading through this rich, rich history is that enslaved people organized over and over again to reclaim time. And one of the key ways of doing that was to flee the plantation, because you're withdrawing your labor, but you have to withdraw yourself in a system of slavery. And they did that repeatedly and over again. Moreover, they fought for and won land for themselves, gardens, provision lands, and so on, where they could produce more and more for their needs. And then they fought for more time to work on their gardens and in their provision grounds than on the master's plantation lands, and so on. So they're fighting against producing commodities for others in order to produce life and the means of life. And I mean that in all its richness, from the vegetables you produce to the spiritual and cultural life that you're involved in. And this is why, to use the UCLA historian Robin Kelly's terms, the life of enslaved people is defined by freedom dreams. And one of the things that Dr. Kelly has been trying to say to us is those freedom dreams continue to speak to us because we have not yet accomplished the task of human freedom.
Thank you, David. I have so many questions.
We're gonna stop it right there. I think we got enough. If you want to go and finish it up, you can go to this channel on YouTube. Can you hear me now? You can go to this channel on YouTube and finish it up. This video is 58 minutes long. We only got into 16 minutes. It does go a little bit deeper, but our time is running short here. So let's see your song. I'm gonna go find your song because this was a mental health day, and you said you made a mental health song. So we're gonna go check it out. Let's check it out, because we always about overcoming all this oppression. Like, as you can see, even white people are over the BS. I mean, some of them still think we came from Africa and all of these different things, but it's just something. Okay, we're gonna check out this mental health song. Well, I had to check your song first before I played it, so I was listening to it before I played it, just to make sure it's something that I could play. And also, I don't really want to get a copyright strike, so I might not listen to it all because I don't want to get a copyright strike. What are you trying to send on Discord? Alright, so let's listen to some of it. And if you want to listen to the rest of it, you can go to this on YouTube. But since it's a mental health topic, let's go.
Chest, it's hard to breathe, heart racing, anxiety's got me on my knees. Sometimes the world feels like it's closing in, but I keep fighting, pushing through the wind. The meds ain't magic, they just help me cope. But sometimes it's like I'm just afloat, treading water, trying to stay alive. Still got demons, they don't let me hide. Some days it feels like I'm stuck in a loop, a cycle of pain I can't seem to reboot. People say I'm fine, I wear a mask so well, but inside, it's like I'm trapped inside a shell. Some take pills, some don't get the choice. Fighting battles that we can't even voice. You gotta trust the process, even when it's tough. Keep moving forward, even when it feels rough. Step by step, we try to find our way. It's the little things we do to make it through the day.
Okay, I don't want to play all of it because I don't want to get a copyright strike on my channel, but that was definitely 100% mental health related. So if you need a good, song to hype you up this morning, go check out Astro Chills on YouTube. All right, cartoon style pick you will like. I will definitely go check it out. Somebody said hello. Who said hello? Somebody said hello. Who was that? Say it again. Hey, I don't know who that was, but hello. The message disappeared really, really quick. If y'all were watching on TikTok, my phone died, so I can't even accept any Discords right now. Alright. So guys, this is the end of, is my mic on? This is the end of our broadcast this morning. Alright. I hope you guys have a positive day. Stay focused. Know that we're going from hood to hooded. Don't let this world break you down. Know where you came from. And let's just continue to shine. I just wanted to send you a pic I made of you. You made a picture of me? How did you do that? Oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Alright. You will like it for real. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap it up? I will see you guys again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Back with another broadcast for the Hood to Hooded podcast. Tomorrow is Finance Friday. I feel like we're going to be doing something with Weeble. I really want to get on Weeble. Have some fun on there. Just continuing investing, learning about money, covering all topics from hood to hooded. Alright? I definitely appreciate my I definitely want to see the picture. I wish you could just drop it in the chat. But I really appreciate my TikTok chat. They very engaging. Thank you guys for sending all the hearts and the roses and the heart me's, even though my phone died. That's why I let you guys know, if you follow me on any other platform, if all else fails, you have to follow me on Twitch. Alright? No, you don't have to send it to the Insta. I don't really check DMs and stuff like that. I'm really not into that. Alright? So no questions before we get out of here. This is Dr. Cheapest Sunflower, aka Dr. Sean, the motivational dentist. Stay positive, guys. I will see you tomorrow. How can I send it to you? I don't know. I'm gonna go on the Discord and see how to add it, but I'm not really a Discorder. I'm kind of new to Discord. I just got it because I see streamers having it, but I guess you could send it. I don't know. Alright. Thank you for chatting, Not a Straw, Chills, all of my TikTok folks. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube, I'll holla. I'll see y'all guys tomorrow.